in the name of your Son, Jesus. John 8, 1-12. Isang paborito nating balik-balikan na kwento dahil napakaraming mapipigang aral. Jesus went back to the temple area. The people all came to him and he sat and taught them. So ang ginawa ni Jesus, tinuruan ang mga tao. Ang tunay na light ay yung teaching ni Jesus. Pag sinabing live in the light, it means live in the teaching of Jesus, live by the teachings of Jesus. And what is the spirit of Jesus' teaching? Isang malinaw na mensahe na katuruan ni Jesus, God's grace, God's love. Giving rest and peace by forgiving sins. Destroying the law that made people needlessly sinful. Jesus voided the local, Israel-specific legal, social, and ceremonial purification laws given by Moses to the Exodus Hebrews /Israelites/Jews. Anong ibig sabihin natin? Pag sinabi ni Jesus that I came to destroy the law, to set you free from the law, yun yung mga laws that were specifically given to the nation of Israel. The people who went out of Egypt in the Exodus. It means that those laws were culture-bound. It was only for them, hindi para sa buong daigdig. May ibinigay ang Diyos sa mga katuruan para sa lahat ng tao, sa lahat ng kultura, sa lahat ng sibilisasyon, pero may ibinigay na kautusan si Moses na pang-Israelites lang. Ang isang malaking pagkakadulas ng marami, hindi naman sila Israelites, hindi naman sa kanila binigay, nakikisukob sa mga laws na yon, nagpapasakop, nabibigo tuloy na sundin. Kasi time specific yon para sa kanila, sa kanilang panahon, sa kanilang konteksto, sa kanilang sitwasyon. Yun ang mga laws that were nullified by Jesus. Those laws, including their numerous mutations and additions, kasi hindi lang naman yung commandments ang naging law ng Israel eh. Ang kanilang relihiyon nakaimbento ng 613 other mitzvots or laws, at marami pang mga regulations, sub-regulations, and not only that, yung Christianity that followed, that was here in the last 2,000 years, invented more laws, added more laws, kaya wala nang makakapasabay the law. Wala nang magiging guiltless, nobody can live in the light. Lahat takot, lahat kulang, lahat sinful, if measured by those laws. So those laws also mutated, and they made sinning inevitable, unavoidable, always making people sinful, guilty, afraid, stressed, and tired. Needless to say, those laws also placed the people under the power of abusive priests, abusive teachers of the law and Pharisees, who presided over and lived on the lucrative business of the law, sin, and forgiveness. At alam natin yan sa nakaraang 2,000 taon, napakalaking negosyo ng kasalanan at ng pagpapatawad sa kasalanan. Mga kapatawarang nabibili, Diyos na nasusuhulan ng kutakot-takot na mga durasyon. Kaya ang gustong-gusto ng relihiyon, magturo ng law. Para lahat lawbreakers, therefore lahat guilty, at pag guilty ka, syempre, laki-laki mo mag-donate. Malaking negosyo yung issue ng kasalanan. How can you live in the light? If the meaning of living in the light is living perfectly by the standards of the law, it is impossible. Iba ang Amerikano, yan ay ibinigay sa sinaunang Israelita. Ang isang napakalaking kalituhan, bakit ka nakikisali sa usapan? Nung ibinigay yon, sabi ng Diyos kay Moses, bring the people of Israel here, tell the people of Israel this. Israelite ka ba? So hindi ikaw ang kausap, sila. So merong laws na for them, merong laws na for them and for us. Yun yung mga law on love, on goodness, on kindness. Hindi yun sinira ni Jesus, hindi yun ginawa ni Jesus na null and void. Now, Jesus gave His one law and command, love others and yourself. Yan ang law niya. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng ancient laws ng araw, pag loving ang application, tuloy. Pag hindi loving, hindi na yun tuloy. So, meron nagkasala, babatuhin mo hanggang mamatay. Loving ba yun? Okay. Actually, in effect, itinigil ni Jesus yung practice na yon. Sa ating pag-aaralan ngayon at laging pinag-aaralang example. Now, the spirit of Jesus' teaching is giving rest and peace by setting people free from the law, to be very emphatic. By giving people a brand new start from the law, hindi yung brand new start na magic, na born again ka, hindi ka na makakasala, hindi ka na matetempt. Walang ganoon kasi, alam mo naman, kahit born again ka, nakakasala ka by the law, natetempt ka rin. Tuloy, nabibigo ka, parang ano nangyari sa akin, parang hindi ako na-born again. Kasi mali yung expectation mo, what it means. Because what is given you is not a magically new lifestyle, but a new way of thinking, a new heart and mind, especially about the law and sin. You are given a brand new status as children of God. And the Spirit of God's teaching in Jesus, as we have said, is love. Loving and doing good to one another. That is the new law, the only command of Jesus. Loving ba na manghiya ng isang tao na sinful by the standards of the law? Loving ba na bulat-latin ang buhay niya sa harap ng lahat? Anong correction ang sinasabi niyo? Walang nako-correct dyan. Wala naman talagang nare-restore. Pagka ginano nila yan, after 2 weeks, umaalis na rin sa church na yun kasi napahiya na todo-todo. Lumilipat na lang. Kasi hindi naman talaga nare-restore. It doesn't work because it is a misguided application of tell it to the church. Meron kasing teaching, pagka daw may nakakasala, pag matigas ang ulo, tell it to the church. Pagka matigas ang ulo, tanggalin. Pero ang context ng church na yon, sambahay, a house church. A house church peopled by one family or an extended family. So kung may nagkakasala doon, pag tinelli to the church, after all, alam na rin naman nila yun kasi one family lang sila. Officially mo lang sinasabi para ma-deal. Effective i-deal yun kasi kung sila ay trader, kung sila ay leather maker, kung sila ay farmer, pag may in-expel sila from their family, economically magsasuffer. So mauobliga sumunod. But now, libo-libo yung tao sa church, itetel mo yung kasalanan ng isang tao, you are not really particularly personally connected and loving to this person. Pag-uusapan nyo lang, chichismisin nyo lang, hindi siya ma-restore. At tanggalin nyo man yan, lilipat lang sa kabilang kanto kasi may ibang church na doon. Nung araw kasi, yung home church yun lang ang church sa village na yun, sa town na yun, wala kayo malilipatan. Effective yung tanggalin mo yan, matatakot lang siya matanggal. Mawawalan siya ng family, mawawalan siya ng kasama sa hanap buhay niya. Interrelated kasi yung kanilang family, culture, religion, and their livelihood. Out of context yung tell it to the church na yan. Kaya ang nangyayari, chismisan. So, loving ba? Yun ang dapat itanong. Loving ba na may nagkakasala, i-expose mo in public, i-judge mo ng public? Well, of course, another very important cornerstone of the Jesus teaching is wellness. Healing people from physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual illnesses. Nakakahil ba yung mabato? Nakakahil ba yung litisin ka? Nakakahil ba na i-expose ka? Lalong nahihirapan ng emosyon. Lalong nagsasuffer. And cornerstone of the Jesus teaching is the enjoyment of life. Echoed many times in the Gospels and even foreshadowed in the teachings of Solomon about the enjoyment of life. Pero usually, Pharisaic religion makes you guilty. Pag nag-i-enjoy ka, parang sama-sama ka naman, nag-i-enjoy ako. Tawanan tayo, huwag tayo magtawanan, baka tayo mapagalitan ng Diyos. Yung anong ipinapakilalang Diyos ng Pharisaic religion is not the Father, not the God that Jesus introduced. You know how much Jesus values happiness, enjoyment, pleasure, and even social enjoyment? The first miracle of Jesus was to turn water into wine. Why? To extend the merriment of a wedding celebration. Can you imagine? You think Jesus would have chosen a more profound avenue for his first miracle? He would have chosen a more holy background for a miracle. But why a wedding? And why turn water into wine? You know by that Jesus likes people to enjoy, to have fun, a clean fun. Ang mga tao kasi noong araw, namamantikaan lang yung labi nila pag may kasalan. Nakakakain lang na masarap pag may kasalan, nakakapagsayawan, nakakapagkantahan. So, wala nang wine, di uwi ada. So Jesus made a miracle. Hindi man lang papagaling, may sakit paggawa ng wine. Tapos may mga i-invento pa ng teaching na, hindi wine yun. Walang alcohol content yung ginawa ni Jesus. Pero ba namang wine na walang alcohol content? Kasi mga tao, hindi nila matanggap na pwede mag-wine. Samantalang nung panahon ni Jesus, talagang kasama sa table, wine. Pipilit nila, tubig lang yan na may food coloring. Pharisaic teaching yan. Allergic sila sa fun and enjoyment. John 8:1-12, to continue. Di ba? Nagturo si Jesus. Biglang may occasion to give a shining example, personification of the ideas of his teaching. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought a woman that they had caught in bed with a man who was not her husband. They forced her to stand in front of the people. Imagine, nahuli ka in the privacy of your own bedroom, doing your thing, kakalagkarin ka sa plaza para ipahiya sa lahat ng tao. Anong puso meron ka? Nagaganunin mo ang isang tao, lalo't babae, in her moment of weakness, defenselessness. And you don't even know why she's doing it. Maybe she has nothing else to sell but her body. The economic system of that time was very cruel, especially to women. Tapos gaganunin mo. Tapos in the name of God. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees shamed people. And even up to now, it is happening in the name of Jesus. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees exposed the woman to be stoned by the people. But remember, the original law was to stone both the man and the woman to death. Konting pikit, konting tulog, biglang woman na lang yung babatuhin, na puwera na yung man. Because the religion of Israel and the state of Israel was run by men. So mga women na lang yun ang babatuhin, samantalang yung kinado-adultery by yourself. Nakita nyo, yung law na ipinagpipilitan nilang i-apply, sila din tinwist nila to benefit the men. The law institutionalized religious violence, cruelty, and murder. The law made people insensitive and hard-hearted in the name of God. Kaya kahit hanggang ngayon, yung nakapapad sa law, nakasama sa may mga nanay, sabi sa akin sa Facebook, anak, naging anti-mother, honest-man man ako, lalo ko na po siya, isang family, inismo, nakakaya sa church. Ano pong gagawin ko? Sabi ko, nanay, magpakananay ka na lang. Saka ka naman makatsa ko nisa. Nanay ka, sino ang susuko sa anak mo? Para i-base mo na talaga kahit ako mo sa iyo ng anak, in the name of God, kakalbalan niya. Makananay ka na lang. Kung marunong magalit ang Diyos, tanggapin na yung magalit, talk to God kayo na lang. Pero huwag mong gawin yan. Magtatakwil ka ng anak dahil hindi siya tinatanggap ng church. Eh di lumipat ka ng church. Ina ka ikaw lang ang ina. Ikaw lang yung kapatid, ikaw lang yung tatay. Meron pa mga pastor, may mga anak po akong pasaway, ayaw sumunod, kaya itatakwil ko na kasi baka ako magdisiplina ng church namin, pastor pa naman ako, ganyan-ganyan. Sabi ko, bakit ka na lang muna magpakatatay? Hindi po sila sumusunod sa regulasyon ng church. Eh, ikaw naman ang nagpastor, hindi sila Bakit mo sila idadamay sa desisyon mo? Magpakapastor ka, all you can. Pero, ibang katawan yan, ibang tao, ibang utak. Eh, paano po yan? Eh, kung hindi yan katanggap-tanggap sa church, yung mag-decide ka, papastor ka ng buong bayan, o magiging ama ka ng iyong anak. Ano bang unang nangyari? Naging ama ka ba o naging pastor ka agad? Alin ba talaga? So, isipin, anong uri ng ama sa langit ang ipinakilala ni Jesus at ano ang ipinakilala ng mga teachers of the law and Pharisees? Laging galit, laging malupit, laging nagpaparusa, nakakatakot. Samantalang sabi ni Jesus, fear not. How can Jesus say fear not kung actually paparusahan ka pala sa bawat bagay na hindi mo masunod under the law? At ang mga ito, religious violence, nangyayari pa rin ito. Law-versed, obsessed Christians become modern-day Pharisees. So, un-Jesus. They become unkind and cruel to sinners, even to just other sect followers and believers, all in the name of God. Bakit dati? Karaniwan ka namang tao, mabait ka naman usually, napasali ka sa isang law and verse obsessed sekta, nakalaban mo na lahat ng kamag-anak, dinibati mo na lahat ng tao, nakaaway mo na lahat, nilayuan mo lahat ng kamag-anak, hindi ka dumadalo ng mga kasalan ng pinsan mo dahil ibang simbahan, ililibing na yung lola mo, ayaw mo pumasok sa simbahan, akala mo kapupunta sa impyerno kung umaten ka ng ritual, lola mo yung nililibing. Anong ginagawa sa puso ng mga tao pag nagiging law-obsessed? Hindi na nakikikamag-anak, hindi nakikipagkapwa, hiwalay ng hiwalay sa lahat. Puri ng puri sa sarili lang nila kongregasyon, pintas ng pintas sa iba. This is not the teaching of Jesus. Especially in the misguided and uncontextual application of tell it to the church, as we have seen. Yung open rebuke is better than secret love, so I will rebuke and rebuke and rebuke you. Meron akong full message on that. I-research na lang kasi mahaba. Yung Jesus came to fulfill the law. Yes, but how? Dapat pag-aralan. Hindi literal fulfillment of the law ang ginawa ni Jesus. Meron pa magsasabi, but God is a God of justice. Yes, God is love, but God is a love of justice. So, ibig mo sabihin, yes, may grace, pero merong law. So, alin talaga? Nakakalito yun. One half law, one half justice, and one half grace put together is one whole nonsense. It will not work. It will only confuse you. Talagang dapat mong isipin, under the law ba ako, under grace? Hindi pa rin, lipat ka dito, lipat ka doon, lipat doon. Because when you are dynamic about it, you will always be confused. And when you are confused, you can never have peace. Sa pagpapatuloy ng kwento, they said to Jesus, Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses commands us to stone to death any such woman. What do you say we should do? Jesus stood up and said, anyone here who has never sinned should throw the first stone at her. Pay attention, church. The question was, this woman broke the law. The law says we can stone her to death. Heto ang verse, turo ni Moses, ibabato na namin dahil ipinababato. Sabi ni Jesus, no. Hindi nyo ipambabato ang law ni Moses. Bibigyan ko kayo ng ibang bato. That Jesus' teaching on stoning and judging others, do not judge according to the law of Moses, but judge according to your perfect personal obedience to that law. Sabi niya, yung walang kasalanan, ibig sabihin, yung sumusunod ng law, kayo mambato. Kung may babato kayo, hindi verse. Ang daming verses, talagang babato kayo ng babato. Pero ang binibigay ko sa inyong pambato, hindi yung verses ni Moses. Yung grades nyo in obeying all those laws. Kung perfect kayo sa pag-obey, sinless kayo, wala kayong kasalanan by the standards of that law, sige, bato. Bato pa more. May ibabato ka ba? Kung ang pambato mo is your personal holiness, personal perfection in obeying the law. Sabi niya kasi, di ba? Whoever has no sin should throw the first stone. It means whoever has obeyed all the laws and therefore by the standards of the law is sinless, you be the first to stone. Sino ang merong ganong bato? Kahit si Darna, wala. Dig ang bato. Yung bato ng holiness ko, dali ibato natin. Sasabihin ding, Ate Narda, wala kang ganong bato kasi sinner ka rin eh. So, sino ang pwedeng mambato? Wala. Tapos, batuhan ng batuhan. Pag in-internalize natin ang turo ni Jesus na ang pambato mo is your personal holiness, you can't, you won't judge others. When they heard this, they began to leave one by one. The older men first, yung mga pasimuno, and then the others. Jesus was left alone with the woman standing there in front of him. Which is best done with so-called sinners. Leave them alone with Jesus. It's not your business to deal with their sin. Leave them alone with Jesus. Jesus looked up again and said to her, Where did they all go? Did no one judge you guilty? She answered, no one, sir. Then Jesus said, I don't judge you either. Si Jesus qualified, pero hindi nang judge. Tayo pa na hindi qualified. Anong klaseng kapal ng mukha mo para mang-judge ka ng iba? Hindi ka naman qualified. At sabi ni Jesus, you can go now, but don't sin again. John 3:17, why did Jesus not judge? Kahit kaya niya, kahit pwede. For God did not send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through Him. And that's what precisely Jesus did. Jesus saved that woman from them, from the law, from being stoned. Because God sent Jesus not to condemn, but to save. Tapos ang ginagawa ng religious ngayon, condemn ng condemn ng condemn. Everyone who believes in Jesus, also in Jesusness, meaning the idea of Jesus, would not be lost, but have eternal life. 1 John 5:12-13, whoever has the Son has life, but whoever does not have the Son does not have life. To go on with the story, John 8:1-12. Later, Jesus talked to the people again. He said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never live in darkness. It doesn't mean we'll never break the law of Moses. Ito ang malaking pagkakamali ng meaning na i-attach dito. Whoever follows me will not live in darkness. Akala nila, whoever follows Jesus will be morally perfect by the law. Nobody is able to do that. So you know that that's not what it means. It means whoever follows Jesus will never live in darkness under the law. Because the law is death. The law is judgment. The law is death. Whoever lives under that law lives in darkness. Kasi nasabi ni Jesus, if you follow me, you will not live in darkness, you will not live under the law, you will not live in fear under the law, but you will live in the light, in salvation, in peace, at rest. At sabi niya, they will have the light that gives life. Ang totoong nakakaintindi ng teaching ni Jesus, ang binibigay niya sa mga tao, life, not death. Salvation, not judgment. Love, not anger. At sabi pa ni Jesus, and to add, not Moses, not Mosesness, not the law, not judgment. I am the light. I am the life. I am salvation of the world. At sabi pa ni Jesus sa John 5:45, listen church, it's very important. Don't think that I will be the one to stand before the Father and accuse you. Moses, the law, is the one to accuse you. And he is the one you hope. Follow Jesus. Follow love and grace. Do not live in darkness, under the law, under judgment by the law. In other words, don't live in sin zone. Kasi ang maraming churches ngayon, parang sin zone. Pag pumasok ka doon, puro sin ang maatupag mo, puro pagkakasala ka, puro kasalanan ng topic. Pumasok ka sa sin zone. Have and give the light that gives life, not death. 1 John 5:1-8. We heard the true teaching from God. Now we tell it to you. God is light, and in Him there is no darkness. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng if you are in Jesus, you will not live in darkness. Because in God, there is no darkness. In God, there is no darkness. Therefore, no sin, no law that makes people sinful. Yung God zone, parang autoclave. Pag pumasok ka doon, tanggal lahat ng mikrobyo. Pag pumasok under the grace of God, hindi niya ine-effect yung law ni Moses. Ang ine-effect niya yung love, yung forgiveness, yung restoration. So wala kang sin. Not because you are perfectly obeying all the law, but because you are declared sinless because of your faith in Jesus. God's light consumes all darkness and sin. Jesus destroys the law and sin. Jesus saves from darkness and sin. So, patuloy ang ating binabasang verse kanina. So, if we say that we share in life with God, but we continue living in darkness, we are liars. We don't follow the truth. Ang ibig sabihin ng we continue to live in darkness, hindi yung patuloy tayo nagkakasala by the law, kundi patuloy tayong ikinoconsider ng sarili at ng iba na under the law. Therefore, nagiging makasalanan tayo by our own pronouncements. If we say that we share in the life with God, meaning if we share under grace, but we continue living in darkness, meaning we continue living under the law, we are liars who don't follow the truth. If we say that we share in the life with God, that we now have life in God through Jesus, that we are now God's children through faith in Jesus, through grace and love, but we continue living in darkness under their own master, who is God, also Jesus, decides if they are doing right or wrong, not you. And the Lord's servants will be right because the Lord is able to make them right. Kahit sa tingin mo wrong, Lord, wrong siya by the law of Moses. Ako ang nagsasabing right siya kasi ginagawa ko siyang right. Ginagawa ko siyang right because of my love, because of my grace. And it is earned by Jesus through His sacrifice. Ginagawa ko siyang right. Bakit mo ba siya pinipilit gawing wrong? Anong klaseng business yan? Mag-a-attend ka ng church, magiging Bible study ka, teacher, attendee, tapos ang business mo mag-judge ng iba. God is able to make the followers of Jesus right. So stop receiving blows and stones from others. Mga kapatid, huwag na kayo magpakamartir, say no to church bullies. Mga religious bullies na pinapakailaman kayo sa bawat himay-may ng buhay nyo. Stop making them do that to you. Stop allowing them. Jesus died to set you free, even from bullies. Stop receiving blows and stones from mere humans like you, from fellow sinners by the law lang naman. At tandaan mo ito, hindi ka punching bag ng mga manang. Hindi ka punching bag ng mga Pharisees, ng mga religious bullies, ng mga banal-banalan, ng mga santa-santahan. No! Huwag mong tanggapin. Refuse it. That is to honor the legacy of Jesus that gives you. Yung iba kasi akala nila, Christian sila, pinapakailaman lahat ng manang, obey ng obey, obey ng obey. Akala nila is the holy thing to do. No, Jesus doesn't want them to judge you. So bakit ka nagpapajudge? Huwag ka naman maging pasaway sa church o makulit at wala kang siga-siga ka dyan. No, ang sinasabi lang natin, huwag kang papi. Huwag kang papi sa mga relihiyoso. Makasalanan din yan. Hindi lang halata. Live in Jesus. Live in the light. Live in freedom. Live in peace. Not in fear. Jesus gave His life to set you free. Huwag mo sayangin. 1 John 4:18, there is no fear in love or in grace in Jesus. But perfect love drives out fear. Fear of punishment by the law. Because fear has to do with punishment. And the one who fears punishment is not made perfect in love, in grace, in Jesusness. Pag takot pa, pag lagi kang takot, napapaluin ka ng Diyos, paparusahan ka ng Diyos, tatakwil ka ng Diyos, at pag nananakot pa, kulang pa sa pag-unawa sa love and grace of God. And in more than 40 years of my full-time ministry, ito ang nakita kong napakalaking kulang sa mga Christians. Hindi naiintindihan si Jesus. Hindi tuloy tinatablo, weary and burdened with religion, with the law, with the issue of sin. And I will give you rest. Hindi kita aakusahan, hindi kita uusigin, hindi kita tatakutin. Take my yoke upon you, that yoke is grace, and learn from me, not from the Pharisees, for I am gentle and humble in heart, they are not, and you will find rest for your souls. Yan ang gusto ni Jesus na ma-enjoy mo, rest. Sabi niya, for my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Kung hindi kayo nagagaanan sa inyong religious burden, hindi si Jesus ang dala nyo, kasi siya magaan. Mag-isip-isip. In Jesus, relax, chill, live at rest. Jesus died to give you that. Huwag sayangin. Salamat, Panginoon, sa kapayapaan na nagmumula sa pagkaunawa kung anong ibig sabihin ng iyong pagmamahal, ng iyong pagliligtas, ng iyong grace, ng iyong love. Turuan niyo kaming ma-appreciate ito. maipamuhay. At huwag kaming dumagdag sa pasanin ng kapwa, pahirap sa kapwa, pampagilty sa kapwa. Make us blessings to others, not curses. Teach us and allow us to bring to them grace and love, not the law, not judgment, not punishment, not fear.